All right, we are talking today about niching because so often niches are the thing that keep us stuck from moving forward in our businesses. So whether you're just starting out and trying to figure out your niche, whether you've been in business for a while and want to clarify your niche, or maybe you're trying to move into a new one or combine a few passions into one, we are going to do a mini little training today on niches because I just got some incredible questions about niching and I am so excited to help you tackle this niching challenge if it is yours. So let's talk a little bit about what comes up for people when it comes to defining their niche and struggling with niching. Okay, I've got some notes as usual here to make sure I stay on track. So first, sometimes people are unable to commit to a particular niche. They think, I'm a life coach and I can help anyone and everyone. And they're afraid that if they narrow down to one niche that they are going to exclude the clients that they could be helping because they can help everyone. Sometimes maybe the unwillingness to commit to a niche is actually out of fear, because if you actually committed to the niche that maybe inside you kind of know you want to focus on, then that means you'd have to take all of those next business building steps, which can be scary. So it's really kind of like a fun problem to stay stuck in your current I can't figure out my niche situation. All right. The other thing is maybe you're trying to refine your niche further and actually define it. You're trying to put words to who you help and how you help them, what kind of results that you get. Maybe you're trying to combine a couple different passions. So let's talk about all of these different problems. I've got notes here and I've got notes right below this video. So if I look away from you for just a second, that is where I'm headed, but I am here to help. Okay. So first thing we need to do is let's say that let's tackle all of these different niching problems. One of them is that you're actually afraid to commit to your niche. Now, you're the only one who can get honest and confess to yourself if that really is your particular problem. So if you're having trouble defining your niche, the first question I want you to ask yourself is, am I afraid to actually commit? And you are the only one who's going to know the answer. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but you're the only one who can know, and you have to tackle that problem before you can move on any further. So am I afraid to commit? One way to know that if you're afraid to commit to your niche is if you think, well, I will exclude people, or I can't help everyone, or what if I choose the wrong one? That's a really biggie. And so I just want you to know that all those things are coming from fear, and fear doesn't have to hold you back. The best advice I can offer when it comes to picking a niche is just to pick. Do you know that I've changed my niche and target clients, I don't know, maybe a dozen times since I started my business, and they're still always evolving? It's fine. It's totally a part of the process. So one of the things you can do to serve yourself is to just choose. Choose and then take the next action steps, because you can never figure out your niche for good forever in your head just by thinking about it. The way you're going to get that clarity is by taking action, putting your ideas out there and really working with people. Okay, so first problem is if you're afraid to choose your niche, your job here is to just choose one. Choose one to move forward. Now, okay, maybe you've got a different problem. Maybe you've figured out your niche, but you're struggling to figure out how to connect with them. I don't mean like marketing techniques. I'm going to do another little training video on that in the next couple days. But I mean you want to really connect with your people and you're trying to figure out their words. You're like, okay, I help these women and they're in careers and this is sort of what they're struggling with, but I'm kind of getting I don't exactly know how to use their words. Awesome. So if you're struggling with that problem, the first thing I want to say is thumbs up. That's awesome that you know that that's your problem, because most people don't even know they have that problem. So the fact that you know that you have that problem means you've been listening to what I've been telling you all these years, and you clearly have honed in on one of the things you need to figure out. This is fantastic. So you're probably thinking, okay, great, I need to hone in on my words, but Jenny, how do I do it? And there are a couple ways you can go about doing that. So first thing is ask past clients. So if you've worked with people in any capacity, somewhat even remotely related to this niche, ask them. Say, before we worked together, what problem did you have? Why did you agree to do a session with me? Or what results did you want? Or what were you most frustrated with in your life? And remember, the key here is to say, what did you want before we started working together? Because what happens is people's language and their word choice changes as they work with you, because they learn that, oh, my real problem isn't, my real problem isn't that I have a clear niche. I don't have a clear niche. My real problem is I'm afraid to put myself out there. I'm just making that up as an example. But sometimes your clients think they have one problem, but you know, as the expert, they have another problem. And they are going to clue into what their real problem is the more they work with you. But you have to help them hone in on what the problem they thought they had before they started working with you. That part is so important. You have to sort of coach them backwards when you ask them these questions. What about before we worked together? What were you most frustrated by and struggling with before we started working together? That is really important. What results did you want before we started working together? What results did you want after we worked together? Before we started working together, what were your major frustrations? And start to pick their brain. Ask them those questions and really help them figure out what was going through their mind at that time. And take notes, write down all of these words. They're so important because these are the words you're going to want to be using. Okay, now, maybe you're saying, Jenny, I haven't worked with any clients. This is just an idea I had. Okay, my guess is the idea came from somewhere. Likely it came from your own life. So I want you to go back in your own brain to before you solved this problem that you now help I want you to go back in your brain to before you solved this problem in your life. And you were in that before state, and you were frustrated, and you had a vision, or you had desires or dreams, and you didn't know how you were going to get there. And I want you to ask yourself what was going through your head. So I think back to before I quit my job, my corporate job way back in 2009. Before I quit it, I remember 2 years before that, I was thinking, I had thoughts that going through my mind about what I was frustrated with. I can't imagine staying at this company until I'm 65 and retiring. I can't imagine that this is all I would do with my life. I feel like I have a greater purpose. There's something more important I want to do with my life. I don't want to just work here. I feel like I spend all this time working for somebody else when I could be doing something to make such a difference for other people's lives. So these were things that I would thought before I quit my job. I didn't know what job I was going to take. I didn't know what career I wanted to follow, but I was able to go back and identify that line of thinking. So I want you to do the same thing. Go back to before you solved your problem and ask yourself, what kinds of things were going through my head? What questions was I asking? What desires did I have? What was I most frustrated? Sort of interview yourself. Now remember, you have to use the words that you used from before you solved this problem. You don't want to use the words that you now know. You want to use the words from before because those are the ones that are going to resonate with your client. Now, okay, so first one is you're going to talk to other clients. The second one, or other clients you've worked with, you're going to interview yourself. The other one is you say, okay, I'm not any of those things. Great. Start talking to real live humans about this problem. Okay, just talk to people. Now, it's really important. So for example, I am not a mom and I don't have children. So I would suggest never interviewing me about what it's like to be a mom. And as a mom, what kind of things would I want from a coach? Okay, don't ask me because I would give you very bad answers. I would say, well, my friends say this and my sister says this because she's got a baby. But you want to make sure the people you interview are people who can somewhat relate to your problem. So make sure you're not choosing, don't ask people like me questions if you're a mom coach because I'm not going to be of any use to you. So this is why a lot of people put out surveys into big groups and say, hey, answer this survey. Well, those results are useless because most of them aren't your target client. So you really want to make sure that you're talking to people who can relate to your target client. Okay, ask past clients, interview yourself, ask random people who can relate to this specific problem. And if all of those fail, guess. That's it. I am giving you permission to guess. Because the only way you're going to get the clarity you're looking for is to put these ideas into play, to get out there, to start to try to get clients, to interact with more people, to have those person-to-person interactions, even if it's online. And the only way you're going to get there is if you put a stake in the ground and just say, I'm just going to move forward with my best guess, which is this. Okay, so that's how you're going to move for your niching. Okay, so let's sort of recap where we talked. We talked about first you've got to own up to the fact that you might be afraid of niching down. And only you can know that. So own up to that and know that that is a legitimate challenge that people bump into in niching. The second one is you aren't sure the language to use, and we just walked through the different ways to get that language. And now the next thing, so some of you have been following me for quite some time, and you know that I'm a big fan of summarizing what you do into 3 concise sentences. And this is a lot easier said than done if you've tried to tackle it. So I'm going to give you the quick and dirty Jenny Shih version of how to do that if you're wanting to create your 3-sentence summary, okay? You're going to have to write this down because I don't have a handout for this, okay? So go ahead, grab a pen and grab a paper, and this video will be here so you can always come back. And it's, I'm a blank. I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, I'm a bookkeeper, I'm an artist, I'm a blank. Who helps who? I'm a coach, business coach, and mentor who helps women who run online service-based businesses. And then you're going to sort of summarize their problem with a blank problem. So you don't actually say, I'm a blank who helps people with a blank problem, but you want to weave that problem into there. So I'm a coach and consultant for women who run online service-based businesses. And then you help them with what? So there's a couple places that get a little, there's a little bit of flexibility here. So this is an art more than a science. So you want to talk about their problem. You want to talk about what they're frustrated with and why they want the end result and what you actually help them with. Okay. So I'm a weight loss coach who helps women who have a hard time losing weight because they travel all the time. They're frustrated because even though they commit to eating well and exercising, when they're on the road, they just can't seem to get it right. I give them a simple plan to eat better and exercise even when they're on the road so they can lose weight and feel great, okay? I just made that one off the top of my head, filling in those key components. I'm a blank who helps blank with a blank problem. They're frustrated because blank. I help them blank so they can blank, okay? Yeah, you'll have to rewatch that to get all those pieces. Now, up above, in the bottom, I left some resources for you to go and check out. So there's one about the jargon trap and being really careful with the language that you use or don't use. And that really goes back to the point I made earlier about making sure you use the words people use before they hire you, not after, because their language changed. So this is all before language. The next link is the easiest answer to the toughest question, which is just another version of the 3-sentence summary and getting there. That will give you a little help with that one. And the third one is just some ideas around niching and what might be keeping you stuck. Now, I am so here to help you with this niching problem. I have clients who sort of trip up on this all the time, every day, all day long, or people before they come work with me struggling with their niche, and I want you to know that I want to help. So you can either leave a comment below this video, or you can leave a comment on either of those blog posts. They will get to me in all capacities and they will all get to me through those channels. And I will be sure to help you as much as I can. Let me just check in and see if there's anything else. Oh, right. One more thing I wanted to cover is for those of you who are looking at bridging a couple different niches. So a couple examples I've heard from people recently are, I want to be a life coach and a weight loss coach. And how do I talk about both? Another person says, I do PR work for people, but I also do life coaching. And it's really that they're shy and nervous to put themselves out there, but they want to put themselves out there. And so they need a little bit of both. So the question was, how do I combine these multiple different passions I have into one niche to get out there? And so this is such a great question. And the answer is you want to really narrow it down to the root of what your people are struggling with. So let's see, for example, the life and weight loss coach, what that person generally wants, or what that person does is they look at helping them with their general life challenges and weight challenges as like the problems that stop their clients from being who they ultimately are, whether you want to call that living authentic or following their passions or fulfilling their own dreams. Right now, the problems in their life and maybe problems with their weight are holding them back from showing up as their full selves in the world, okay? Now, that's kind of jargony language, but you can see that there's this, it's like, okay, here's weight problem and here's life problem, and you want to find the common thread below. But the key here is not to overgeneralize it. You actually have to get specific. So most people would say like, oh, that's what's stopping them from living their authentic lives. It's like, okay, yeah, now let's get more specific. So how does that actually show up in their lives? What does that look like? What are they struggling with? And these are hard questions, by the way. These aren't ones you're necessarily going to know off the top of your head, but you got to ask yourself, okay, well, these are usually moms who are really busy, and I'm obviously just making this up. These are moms and they're really busy, and so like they tend to just snack off their kids' plates as opposed to sit down and have a good meal. They tend to put their dreams last, and they forget, they don't do this for themselves, they don't do that, and you sort of like get way down to it. It's like, oh, I help moms who have lost their identity to their kids, and that's resulted in weight gain and putting their dreams on hold and not really enjoying their own life separate from being a mom anymore. And I help them reconnect with themselves and what matters most. And then you get into like the exact, all those things we talked about earlier about what kind of questions, what kind of things do people I'm tripping over my words today. What words do people use to describe that problem before they hire you? So now you're like down in here into the specifics, and you want to then get clear on those words. And now you find how to talk about weight and life in the same place on your website. Now, same example applies here to the person who's looking to combine PR and life coaching. So they've got these business owners who want to get the word out about their business, but they're shy and hesitant or nervous to get the word out or whatever it might be. So what's that common thread? They want to put themselves out there. They want to build this business. They want to whatever it is, but they're stuck because they're afraid. And so you want to, again, figure out how these two things connect and go deep and really hone in on the specifics of that individual client and how you want to help them. Okay, let me just make sure that I've covered everything I wanted to around niching, because this stuff gets tricky. All right, so, okay, one more thing. I just want to touch on this. This wasn't a question that came in, but I did want to make sure that I addressed it. Okay, why do I have to niche, Jenny? I can serve everyone. I can help. I'm a life coach. I'm a weight loss coach. I'm a PR consultant. I can help everyone. Whatever it is that you do, you can help everyone. The problem is, in this day and internet age, generic cannot be found online. I looked up the other day, there's like 2 billion websites or something like that, websites on the internet. Nobody's going to find you. If you say, I'm a weight loss coach who helps you live a happy life, you're never going to be found by anyone anywhere. Not because you're not good, but simply because it's so generic. And so niching isn't to push people away. Niching isn't about not helping people you can serve. Niching is about creating a way to connect and reach the people that you are here to serve. This is so important. Niching is not about excluding, but it's about reaching those people. And it can feel like when you're first starting, when you know you can serve so many people, it can feel like you're excluding a whole bunch, but that is so not what happens. Instead, you're able to cut through those 2 billion websites and hit on the exact words that your specific target audience is going to hear. Now, I like to tell this story because that I'm about to tell you, because it just shows the power that niching doesn't exclude, okay? One of the first coaches I ever hired, and I've told this a lot, so if you've heard me tell this story before, it'll sound familiar, but it's a good reminder. She helped women with chronic pelvic pain. I did not have chronic pelvic pain, but when I found her, I was like, oh my gosh, there's something about the way she talks and the way she's so clear. I think she's supposed to be my coach. And I reached out and I said, I don't have chronic pelvic pain, but here's what I want help with. And I really feel like you could be the right coach for me. She was so the right coach for me. She was exactly what I needed to grow myself and to grow my business. She didn't exclude me, but by speaking to her people and getting really clear on who she was most here to serve, which was the people with chronic pelvic pain, she still was able to reach people like me through some roundabout way. And so we think that we're excluding people, but we're really not. If somebody is meant to be served by us and by what we do, they will resonate with everything else on our site, even if all of the words don't line up exactly. And so that's what we want to make sure we do there. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to cover for my niching. Let me just double check my notes right here. Hold on. Okay, fantastic. I think that's it. Let me just look at this one other comment. Okay, fantastic. I think we got it all. So I hope today's little mini training helped you figure out your niching challenge. Maybe you're afraid. Maybe you're trying to find the right language. Maybe you're trying to explain to people what you do. Maybe you're afraid to niche down, but no, you need to. Hopefully the insights today helped you with all of that and more. If you have questions for me on niching or how I can help you or on anything that I said today, please look at the blog posts that are linked above and leave a comment on those pages. or leave a comment here. And if you watched this video this far, thank you very much. And if you know anybody who needs a little bit of help with niching, tag them below and let them know that they can get some of their niching challenges solved. It's my pleasure to help you do that. All right, I'm going to be doing a whole bunch more of these You Asked, I Answered videos in the coming days and weeks, and so stay tuned. I think there's a way for you to subscribe for when I go live, so be sure to do that. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us, info@jennyshih.com, or you can message us through Facebook, and it would be more than my pleasure to make a video answering your biggest business questions. If we don't have one already, I'll make a fresh one for you. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm probably going to be back soon with another You Asked, I Answered. So hang tight. Have a good one.